The instant the words slipped from my mouth, I knew I had crossed a line. Maybe I should just run off with Daniel, I teased, flipping my hair back with a smirk as if it were nothing but a throwaway joke. James froze. His hand, halfway to lifting his coffee cup, stopped in midair. Those warm hazel eyes that had watched over me for 12 years suddenly darkened, quiet and stormy. "You think that's funny?" he asked. His voice was calm, but sharp enough to cut through me. The laughter died in my throat. "James, it was just a joke. I didn't mean—" But he was already standing. The chair screeched against the floor as he pushed it back and walked toward the door. No slammed fists, no shouting, just a quiet, deliberate exit that was somehow far more terrifying. That was the last time I saw him. James and I hadn't been perfect. No marriage ever is. But we had a history. Late-night drives, that tiny first apartment we made ours, the scar on his chin from slipping while fixing the sink. He had always been steady, loyal, dependable. Maybe that was a problem. I had grown restless, though I never admitted it, not even to myself. Daniel, my co-worker, wasn't extraordinary. Tall, charming, flirtatious in a way that made people laugh. He made me feel noticed in a way James hadn't lately. Or at least that's what I told myself. Dropping his name into that reckless joke felt harmless at the time. I didn't realize I was pulling the trigger of a loaded gun. James didn't come home that night, or the night after. His phone went straight to voicemail. His car was gone from the driveway. His clothes were still hanging in the closet, but it was like he had disappeared completely. At first, I told myself he just needed space, that he'd come back once the sting wore off. But days turned into weeks, and the weight of what I'd said pressed heavier on me. 3 weeks later, a letter came. No return address, just my name written in his familiar, slanted handwriting. My hands trembled as I tore it open. You think it was a joke? Maybe for you it was. For me, it was a mirror showing me the truth I was too afraid to face. You don't respect me. You don't love me. You don't even see me anymore. So I'm making it easy. Consider me gone. Don't look for me. The words blurred as tears streamed down my face. He wasn't bluffing. He wasn't hiding at a hotel. He wasn't waiting for me to apologize. He was gone, and he meant it. The guilt haunted me everywhere. At the grocery store, I'd reach for his favorite cereal, then stop. At night, I'd roll over, expecting his warmth, only to meet cold, empty sheets. Friends asked where he was. I lied at first, saying work trips. But the lies wore thin, and soon whispers replaced questions. Everyone knew something had broken between us. Then he erased himself completely. Social media gone. Email accounts deleted. It was as if James had scrubbed himself out of existence. And yet, the cruel truth was that I had never cheated. I hadn't even touched Daniel. The joke came not from desire, but from recklessness, my need to push boundaries, to test James's love. And I got my answer. Months later, I found him again. Not by chance. I tracked him down. A friend of a friend said he was working in a repair shop 2 towns away. I drove there, my heart pounding. He looked thinner, sharper somehow. His hair messier, his jawline more defined. But it was still James. James! I whispered as I stepped into the shop. He froze, then turned slowly. His eyes weren't stormy anymore. They were empty, like a dried-up well. "What are you doing here?" he asked flatly. "I had to see you." To explain. It was a stupid joke, that's all. He let out a bitter laugh. "Do you know how pathetic it feels to hear your wife joke about another man? Do you know how many nights I lay awake wondering if maybe it wasn't a joke at all? That maybe you wanted him?" Tears blurred my vision. "No, James, it wasn't like that. I swear to you, there was nothing between us." "But there could have been," he said, stepping closer. "And the fact that you even dangled that possibility in front of me told me everything I needed to know." My knees weakened. "Please, don't do this. Don't throw us away over one mistake." He stared at me for a long time, then shook his head. It wasn't one mistake. It was years of being taken for granted. That joke was just a final nail. And just like that, he turned and walked away again, leaving me sobbing in a cloud of grease and sawdust. After that, I stopped chasing him. Not because I didn't want to, but because I finally understood I couldn't fix what I'd destroyed. Time passed. The silence between us stretched on. A year later, the divorce papers arrived by mail. No arguments, no final words, just a signature and a line from mine. My hand shook so badly when I signed that the ink smeared. People think betrayal always comes from affairs. Hotel rooms, kisses, secret meetings. But sometimes betrayal is quieter. A careless word, a thoughtless laugh, a knife slip between ribs without realizing you're holding it. I didn't cheat on James, but I betrayed him all the same. I still think about him every day, where he is, if he's happier without me, if he found someone who makes him feel valued. Sometimes at night, I whisper his name into the dark, hoping somehow he can feel it wherever he is. But the truth is he's gone, and I'm the one who pushed him away, all because of a joke that was never funny. The last time I saw him was 2 years later, across the street at a cafe. He was laughing, really laughing, with a woman I didn't know. His hand rested gently on hers, and she looked at him with the admiration I used to give. He didn't see me. Or maybe he did and chose to ignore me. I stood there frozen, my heart breaking all over again. Not because he had moved on, but because I finally understood something worse. He had healed, and I never would.